Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Acupuncture's My Life. Now, in this episode, I want to start by asking you a question. How can you tell if your gut is unhealthy? It's just like not healthy at all. Are you able to tell? Some aren't, but this question is directed to you. And there are certain indicators that'll tell you your gut is unhealthy and you need to see an acupuncturist right away. And I love doing abdominal acupuncture for an unhealthy gut. Very effective. Okay? And, there are various reasons as to why your gut may be unhealthy. For the most part, it has to do with diet. Another is mental and emotional disorders, and then it goes on. And you can discuss that with an acupuncturist. That's why it's important to see a physician on an annual basis, do your annual checkup, and make regular wellness visits with an acupuncturist. Because you see, your gut is your second brain. And when that's not working right, it's going to affect the brain in your skull. It really is. So you want to have a healthy gut. You want to have a healthy middle jowl. And what are the two major organs in the middle jowl? You got it, spleen and stomach. And your gut is responsible. Your middle jowl is responsible for all postnatal chi and blood derived from the foods in liquids that you drink. But there are certain indicators that'll tell you something is wrong. And like I said, you need to see an acupuncturist right away. One is like, there's just something wrong with your stomach. It just doesn't feel right. It feels off. Okay? Now, when it comes to your stomach, diarrhea, which is a sign of spleen chi deficiency, constipation, bloating, nausea, heartburn. Those are the typical symptoms or problems relative to gut health. And a lot of these you can experience just from eating too much in the way of carbohydrates during a particular meal. Can be the result of, let's say, poor digestion, absorption, in particular of carbohydrates. Then there's let's say, inflammatory bowel disease, irritable bowel syndrome, colitis. You suffer from these things, you need to get to an acupuncturist right away. And more times than not, they're linked to an imbalance in the microbiome in your intestinal tract. So it's important that you're aware of this. Another indicator that there's possibly something wrong is you just have this craving for particular foods. More so in the way of sweets and sugars. That can be a sign of an imbalance between yin and yang relative to the gut bacteria. It can also be an excess pattern, which an acupuncturist would identify. An excess pattern, phlegm damp accumulation, or rather yeast in your system. And you see an overgrowth of yeast can cause you to crave sugar. Okay, so it's important that you're aware of that. And if you notice, also another thing is your weight is fluctuating. That's another thing. If your weight is fluctuating. Because you have certain type of bacteria in your gut that can cause you to lose weight or gain weight. especially when this bacteria tends to colonize in the small intestine. Now there can be a condition, I need my green tea, called SIBO, which is small intestine bacterial overgrowth, where there's too many microbes in the small intestine. It can mess up a healthy gut. Now yin and yang is out of balance. Spleen chi, stomach chi has been negatively affected, and it's going to interfere with absorption of vitamins and minerals and fats from the foods in which you eat, and then you won't be able to digest and absorb these fats. That's why acupuncture is so important, because health is wealth. The wealth is not in the bank or safe or in an app on your phone, nor is it in a cryptocurrency account. The wealth is not in your pocket, your wallet, or your purse. It's not under the doghouse in the backyard. The wealth is not in a shoebox in a closet, nor is it under your mattress. The wealth is in you. And it's important that you're aware of that. This is why here at Acupuncture is My Life, we remind you of that in every episode. Another sign is there's something wrong with your gut. Is like you ever feel like anxious or just really down, because somewhere in the ballpark between like 80 to 90% of serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter that affects your mood, as well as your sleep, your appetite, your social behavior, your libido, your memory, that's all produced in the middle jiao. This is why the spleen and stomach to an acupuncturist is so important. So when the less serotonin is produced, it can negatively impact your mood. And this is why some patients, when they come in suffering from mental and emotional disorders, an acupuncturist will pick up it's stemming from the gut. Why? Because these imbalances of yin and yang in the gut relative to gut microbiome can trigger depressive symptoms. This is, again, why it's important to see an acupuncturist. Another is your sleep. How is your sleep in effect? How are you not sleeping well? Again, we're going right back to not having enough serotonin in the gut, being produced in the gut, can lead to bouts of insomnia. There'll be that struggle in falling asleep. And then you'll start experiencing chronic fatigue. Symptoms of fibromyalgia can also be tied to the middle jiao, that imbalance in gut bacteria. Yes. And I know it's surprising many of you guys, but yes. And this is why, abdominal acupuncture, it's effective in a lot of disorders. That's why I love doing it. What about your skin? Rashes, eczema, itchy red blotches. Those can also be a sign of poor gut health. Here we go again with that imbalance of gut bacteria. Because I say this over and over, it's all about balance between yin and yang, chi and blood, body fluids. Why? Because the body is designed to self-regulate when everything's in balance. Now, the next thing surprises many individuals when I explain it to them. That an autoimmune condition can be as a result or exist as a result of an unhealthy gut. You see, this imbalance in the microbiome can cause more than just gastrointestinal symptoms. It can also cause autoimmune diseases. And see, these autoimmune diseases can be an indicator of an imbalance of gut microbiome. For example, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis tends to be tied to imbalance in gut bacteria. And acupuncturists are aware of this, which is why I say it's important to make regular wellness visits with an acupuncturist. This is very important. I mean, because serious diseases can result or occur as a result of your middle jowl being in a poor state of health. All right? And it's important you're aware of this. And it's even more important that you make acupuncture a part of your life, okay? Because acupuncture is my life. What's yours?